What's good, beautiful people? Welcome to the Miss Best Reviews channel. Let's also welcome in our regular co-host, James, from the Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel. Good evening.
Hey.
Thank you for being here, you guys. The link to James's channel is in the description of the video. Be sure to click it or check out the playlist featuring all the videos me and James do together, the Watch Your Mouth Reviews collabs, I think I called it. But there's a playlist. Click it, go to his channel, click subscribe, you feel me, and love on him. Let's welcome in Miss Von Creep. Welcome back. I'm so happy to see that you're here. Let's go. So glad you're being consistent by holding the clear people accountable.
We
will always hold the color.
We always do it, yep.
Okay.
That is a guarantee across all of the boards. We have to hold them accountable. There's no getting out of that. Nope, no getting out.
They won't do it themselves.
Right.
They're going to gaslight bullshit. Oops, see, I'm cursing and I'm only a minute in. Let me be cool before YouTube stops me. But we're going to go over to the Valley. Hey, these colorless people, though, they're giving us a show. And they're giving us a show without putting their hands on each other. They're giving us a show without just acting a plum fool. They're giving us a show while, also promoting their businesses. And I feel like they, to a certain extent, most of them are using reality TV in the way it should be used. And I'm going to start giving a shout out to people who do that on their shows, because we got too many love and hip hop Zeus type energy. It's okay, but not all the time. But this episode was titled El Coyote Ugly. And yes, I did put in the title, Janet is horrible, because she is. She's a bad person. And I think it's because she looked like the frog from Princess and the Frog in the face, minus the green. I think that's the only reason that she is upset. And I don't like her. I don't like the way she moves. I don't care for her husband. And somebody sent me a DM, James, saying that Jason practices like the worst kind of law. And I asked, like, well, what type of law is it? And I couldn't find and get a response. And then I Googled it. I was like, does Jason practice a shady type of law? And the internet said yes. So I'm going to task James with that, because I'm not good with law and all of that. Yeah, because I'm curious what he does. But we're going to start this episode with Nia, Danny, Zach, and Zach's boy toy, Benji. They're planning Kristen's engagement trip to Hawaii, which I'm here for. I like Kristen. I think she deserves a trip. I'm not going to comment too much on the scene because it was so quick. We're going to move on to Jesse's life coach. I know the scene had to irk James because these men getting together, trying to make it seem like they're doing something therapeutic, knowing that none of them are interested in changing or close to changing, while trying to make Danny the bad guy, irks my soul. The life coach also irks my soul. Doesn't he give to you like that shady guy in Hollywood who's like Kyle's therapist? Yeah. Like not that good, but because of the zip code he works under, people are going to respect him.
Right. Yeah.
That's a thing here in California, especially in San Francisco and LA.
What pisses me off? Well, explain the thing and then we'll go forward.
So they get together, they do this like circle of togetherness. To me, it's a joke. But basically all these egotistical men decide that they're going to get into like some sort of a circle. There was an event. So Jax reveals he's not going to go on the trip to Hawaii. I don't think anybody cares. So I'm going to move past that. But the life coach tells each of the men that brotherhood is important and they need to stand up, put their hands on the other man's chest, look him in his eyes, and tell him how he feels about something they've done. And this is supposed to be an analogy for clearing the list. If I didn't have half of my braids down, I would come on camera and show you my air quotes to talk about the bullshit that this was. Clearing the list. The list reference. This gives me the guy that got his certificate to wed people, like that dude on that show, The Chi. Yeah. When Lala's character married that other boy and they took the worst and most ignorant nigga they could find and he got ordained online. This is what this life coach's degree is giving. It's very shady because you can't just clear a list by touching somebody and expecting those feelings to go away. You can't.
Like, put your hand on his chest and just tell him, brother, I love you. And I want you to be accountable for the problem you may or may not have. But put your hand on your chest. And I was like,
I wanted to do like Ayanla and go in the bush to weep.
right. Or dig a hole and stick my problems into the earth.
It irks me. I know it's TV, but I think that certain professions should not be played with on TV. The same way we show dignity and respect to people married to medicine, it's the same way Bravo should be showing dignity, respect, and thoughtfulness when choosing to have life coaches or anyone working in behavioral health there. I am an MFT student studying to get my license to be an actual therapist, not a life coach. I'm trying to go all the way. And nothing wrong with being a life coach, but there's a difference in understanding to tell someone to put their hand on someone's chest, speak their piece, and to just move on versus telling someone to do that. And then after that, helping them to realize and acknowledging the fact that it's not just going to make feelings go away, but it's a start. The life coach didn't do that at all. He was just like, touch each other on the chest. You're a brotherhood. Get it off.
Was crazy.
Clear that list.
I'm sorry. I have to speak. Where do we do that? Like,
if he was a black bald life coach, the people would be having something to say.
Exactly. Because y'all ripped Ayanla Van Zandt a new one. Who was it? Was Ronnie from the Players Club. When she did that exact same thing, she said, speak the sound of your pain. Like, give it a sound so you can get it out your body. Y'all ripped Ayanla out of the guard for that. But this man could say, put your hand on his chest and speak the truth of whatever they were trying to confess to each other that didn't make no damn sense in the first place. Jax and Jason.
That's actually an actual therapeutic technique. And it's
is.
funny
that people
accepted that man telling Jesse to scream in a pillow, which is unleashing your pain, however it sounds. But people wanted to come for Ayanla. That's why she left us. That's why we don't have Ayanla no more, y'all. Because we didn't treat her right. Now the celebrities is out here running rogue. Just acting a fool. The exercise, though, James, we can't agree that it was stupid. What the men cleared on their little list. Jesse starts because he called the guy over. And Jesse gives me gay vibes. I don't know why, but I get that from him. And I feel like that's why he's so angry. And I want him to know it's okay to like and love whoever you want.
Right. Well, not only does he give me gay vibes, it makes me wonder about his passive aggressiveness towards Zach.
Yep.
Because I've noticed that right away. And I was like, why are you so passive aggressive with this man? And I'm looking at him like, you a white man in LA. Like, you could be who you want to be. Like, where does he come from? Does he come from like South Dakota or somewhere?
Child, I don't know.
Like,
see, when they did Vanderpump Rules, they explained where everyone came from. This one, like, I don't really know where any of these people came from. I know some of them moved to LA later in life, like Zach, because he spoke about it. We know that Kristen came from the Midwest because of Vanderpump Rules. We know Sheena's from the Valley. But for this cast, like the newbies, they never explained where any of them like really came from. Some of them I don't care though. Like Janet, she can crawl back into whatever fucking hole she came out of. Can't do it. I can't with her. But Jesse starts with Luke, and his complaint was stupid because Jesse's complaint with Luke was that he wants to let go of being upset that Luke has a blind loyalty to his girlfriend, which is dumb. Jesse, of course you're going to stand for your woman. Season one, you stand for Michelle, even though you had a broken marriage and could barely trust her. You still stood for her and was willing to beef with Kristen. You still stood for her and defended her against other people. So I don't think that anybody should ever do that. That's the fastest way to put distance between a friend when they're in a relationship. You expect your friends to side with their spouse over you. That's how it is. That's like the nature of things. I'm going to side with my husband 20 times over I side with James. It's just how it goes. And James going to side with Gio 50 times before he side with me. That's just how relationships go.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Special.
Now, here's the thing. In terms of that, yes, I'm going to side with my man, but there's also circumstantial situations to where I may not. So
that's true. But this was
nothing
that Kristen and Luke.
Well, here's the thing.
Kristen and Luke, though, nothing happened to where there was a situation that shouldn't have been sided.
Exactly. And that's where I kind of want to make the things clear. I could see if it was a situation where someone got maybe violated or someone got, that's where we kind of need to put context to things. But this looked like it was some back and forth, crazy ass clear people shit that didn't make no damn sense to begin with. So that's where I'm kind of like, what are you even? A lot of their issues were stupid. Jason and what's old boy's name? The drinker, the alleged alcoholic.
Danny.
Danny. That was stupid.
It was.
Because in one sentence, you're like, oh my God, he's a great guy. I like him a lot. But I got to take a step back because you have to show me who you are. I said, you just said in one sentence you like him. He's a great guy. He takes accountability.
Jason's been contradicting
you're contradicting yourself. It's like, which one is it? Because if anything, you should have said, man, get your hand off my chest. I don't trust anything you say, you alcoholic.
So to move forward to explain what he's discussing, the next person that did the activity was Danny. He did apologize to Jason for calling Janet a snake, but Jason says he's not going to be able to let everything go. Your wife is a snake, and a snake is cuter in the face than Janet, actually. At least you could hear a snake hiss and slither around. We don't hear her. We just have to look at her, and that's not nice. It's not. So it's one of those things where I didn't feel like Danny needed to apologize to Jason. Guess what? If your bitch get in somebody's face and starts alleging that they're an alcoholic, calling him an ass grabber, something that didn't even impact her, Danny has a right to say something back. And he didn't say the worst or do the worst that he could have. He said she's a snake and walked away. Would you rather him have walked up to your wife, Jason, and got in her face and called her the bitches that she is and the hoes that she probably was to get you? Or would you rather him just say she's a snake and walk away? You provoke somebody, you poke the bear, then you're going to get bit. Put your bitch on a leash and train her to not poke bears. And then maybe she'll be okay. I mean, I don't know how else to put it because Jason is irking my soul. Like James said, he contradicts himself constantly. We always get Danny's a great person. I know this isn't in his character to, well, you're doing this and you're bad. Just admit that you probably taken your ring off. You got into some trouble at home because now it's come up. And so now you have to defend your wife and do what she wants in this situation because we know that's what's really going on. We know that's what, and come out the closet, man. It's okay. Maybe she'll let you have an open marriage where you could get your little boys on the side and y'all can have your little things together. But Jason and Janet need to stop talking about anybody's anything and expecting anything. The life coach points out Danny's drinking further, which irritated me because when you have a conversation with someone about any type of substance use or abuse, you should definitely have it individually first versus in a group setting, especially in a group setting that's filmed with people who are hoping that they're just as bad as him, Jax. Because that's what Jax is hoping for. So Danny does admit that he hides his drinking from the group, but I didn't feel like the life coach did a good job at paying attention to why he feels the need to hide his drinking. The life coach was very one-sided, and you could tell just went off of what he was told or what he saw. But a good practitioner is going to dig more into what the issue is. And I don't feel like Danny hides his drinking. He's not drinking when he's at home, but when he's around this group, he hides it. Why? Because he got drunk, had a slip up. No one wants to let it go. And now they act like they're fearful every time he drinks. So that annoyed me. How did you feel about the life coach trying to talk to Danny about his drinking?
I felt that was the most gaslighting thing I've ever seen on national TV in my life because that man created a story and then tried to hold, his name is Danny, and tried to hold Danny complacent to that. I have never seen that in my life. He says, oh, okay, so what you do is you go to the bar, you have 3 more drinks, and then you come around the group and you just have a drink. Therefore, you're hiding your addiction.
It's and like, then how do you even say that? He has an addiction.
Like, sure. When he said sure, then he was like, the fuck that just happened? I would have said, this is what I would have told respectful life coach, whoever the fuck that is. How dare you make up some shit in my face, then try to point it at me as if that's what happened? You ain't nothing but one of the men told him that that's probably what he does. And his life coach, and shame on you, sir, for even putting that out there like that and actually trying to hold him captive to that story. That was ridiculous. And if I was Danny, I would have left because there's
I would
no
have
way you
too.
there's no way you about to paint that on me like that. I didn't say that, nor has anyone seen that shit.
But I think it's smart that he stayed, because if he walks away, then the life coach would have used that like, yeah, this is common what people do when they're confronted about their alcoholism.
Which is fine. Let him, because here's the thing. It's called notable deniability. There's no proof in what he said. There's no proof with what anyone said.
Most people, though, don't think that way, especially the colorless. I think he just feels like he has to sit there, because if he does anything, these people are going to treat it as if he's angry because of the alcohol. He's damned if he does, and he's damned if he doesn't. So I do get why he stayed. But I want Danny to grow a backbone, and that he goes to the producers the way that Brittany's bitch ass went crying to the producers about the husband she chose, and make the producers put them in order. This is still a place of employment for them. Brittany ran to production like, I don't feel safe to film with Jax and this and that. So they got him an Airbnb in the Pico Rivera neighborhood of Long Beach and said to us that he was in rehab. Okay. And can't nobody convince me differently. But that happened because Brittany ran to production and was like, I don't feel safe. Danny, your reputation is all you have with the work that you do. Your wife is a former Miss USA. Go to production and make them hold that twat and her husband, aka her bitch on a leash, accountable. It doesn't make any sense. He needs to do it, because we're on episode 11, and 10 of these episodes have been centered around Danny and his wife and a drinking problem that we don't have the right to say exists because we don't know. And it's coming from people who Miss Moncrief commented. She said, as much as Jason and Karen want to be mad at Danny and Nia, they need them for a story because they have nothing else going on the show. They have stuff going on. They don't want us to see it. Some of what they have going on that could have been a storyline came out with that ring rumor, because where there's smoke, there's fire. That shit didn't come out of nowhere. And Janet is so viscerally upset, which we're going to talk about later, which tells me that he did take off his ring and something did happen. They focus on everybody else but themselves. Everybody else. And I'm tired of it. Hi, DM Rocks. We're going to get into Janet. She's a mess. Mrs. Moncrief said Danny did admit he hides his drinking. Yes and no. He said he was set up by the life coach. He said, so you go to the drink and you go to the bar and you order 3 drinks, you drink 2 of them there and bring 1 back. That's hiding it. Danny was manipulated by a professional, which is the worst thing. And this is exactly what will happen, because people will see on TV that a life coach got him to admit that and think that that means that he has a problem. When as quiet as it's kept, a life coach isn't even certified to address addiction, substance use disorder, or alcoholism of any sort.
But here's the thing. There's a difference. And even in this statement alone, there is a difference between someone who has an alcoholic problem and someone who hides the fact that they drink. Mm-hmm. That is 2 different things. I may not want you to know that on an occasion when I go out, I have a drink or 2. I may not want that because of the persona that I may have, but that doesn't mean I have a drinking problem. This man on this show has not gotten any DUIs. This man has never appeared in any scene under the influence of alcohol. So where do the drinking and alcoholic play a part in his character on the show? We're not talking about outside the show where we cannot see it. They brought it on national TV, so therefore they have to prove that this is what he does on this platform, which he has not. He went into it because they were hiding the drinks. That was the scene. He went into there because that's where it was. Like, y'all, they're trying to paint him as a negative picture to this. Because
what I would love for Danny to do? Mm-hmm. I'm a Gemini, so we kind of evil in a couple different ways, but that's okay. But I would have played into it. Oh, yeah, you're right. I do have a drinking problem. Thank you so much for your help and your concern. I would have killed their ass with kindness, because once he admits it, I'm actually decided to see a therapist about this. Then what the fuck can they say? Then what?
But then
He's
I'm also
admitted
trying
it.
to figure out what if he did admit it, what does that change?
Exactly. So I feel like Danny, sometimes with people who are so dedicated to the story, okay, yeah, you're whatever you say that I am. That's fine. Yep, I'm actually going to take this to heart and look into it. And then what they got to talk about. Because at this point, they're never going to stop bringing this up. If I'm concerned, I have actual friends who have gone into rehab specifically for alcoholism. I have friends that need to go to rehab for alcoholism specifically, as quiet as it's kept. But when you look at your friend groups, if I'm around a friend that I know has a drinking problem that's not willing to admit it, I don't drink with her. I have a friend that does that. And the friends that I have that have gone to rehab have gone away like for long stints of rehab or even just 30-day stays, real ones, not the ones like Jack's. I don't drink around them. Or if I do, I make sure that they're okay with it. So these people are all full of shit. If they really cared about Danny, they would be operating differently. And it's not going to look good for Janet. It's not going to look good for Janet. And Jason, it's even worse because Janet seems stupid, but Jason is educated and well-versed and deals with people every day and understands the root of what can happen as well as the legalities that could come from what he's accusing Danny of, and he still chooses to do it. So to me, Jason's a little bit worse.
Oh, no, he's absolutely worse. To be someone who is a member of the bar and allege something or accuse someone of something that is so defamatory on public television, you would think he would know better. You would think. Like, this is, to me, he a guy version of Phaedra. That's all it is. He a guy version of Phaedra.
Yep. He is, except Phaedra's smarter. Do we know it, Janet? Cancers. Yeah, but Danny and Nia don't give me quick with it, but y'all are right. We would have gathered. Janet is a Leo, Nia's an Aquarius. Oh,
that makes so much sense.
That makes sense.
So much sense.
Leos can be, Leos are stubborn.
Stubborn, but they're sneaky.
They're sneaky, but they also have unrealistic expectations or
yep.
expectations that differ from other people. My mom is a Leo. I was raised by a Leo. My aunties is Leos. They're all stubborn, and their stubbornness will make their own life more miserable. And when other people are down, they seem to want to see or when they're down, they seem to want other people to be down with them.
Mm-hmm. And everyone has to match their energy, no matter what the energy is. That's just how they are. That's why I said they're sneaky, because whatever energy they have, you have to match it. Because if you don't match it, then they don't want you around them, because they don't want you to appear better than them. That's just really
Janet. I don't like Janet though. I think this is the fastest and strongest I've disliked a new cast member on a new show ever. This bitch is nasty. I want her. Janet, come see me in Oakland, boo. I want to see something. Come out here. I'm just saying.
Flow, some of them.
Not all of them.
Not all of them. Not all of them. Some, because it's a water sign. Some are actually as crazy as the Nile rivers that are from them. But some are smooth as the ocean, where just they go with the tide. But you have some that hold on to everything that's in it. They do. They hold on to everything for dear life. They never let things go. That's
just so everyone knows, Leo is a fire sign. Aquarius is a water sign. Yeah. But what he is saying is correct. Be careful for an Aquarius, though. Those Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, all signs very similar to each other. But Aquarius is the one that'll come get you when you least expect it. So
they come get you, but they never. Be prepared to always deal with the same situations, because they never let things go. The moment you do something, they go all the way back to the beginning of something else you probably have done. That's why you have to. That's why you have to be careful with Aquariuses, because they always hold on to them. They never let things go. I'm with one. Huge. That's how I know. So yes,
huge grudge holders.
They never let things go. You can,
and that's why they be alone a lot. I know a lot of single Aquariuses. That's why people be off of them. They got to figure that out, because they be holding on.
It doesn't make sense. Like, you gotta let things go. If you keep holding on to things, you'll never have fruitful and fulfilling relationships if you continue to hold on to things. People make mistakes. People do the wrong things. It always happens like that. We're humans. We try to be better every single day. We're flawed human beings. But it does not behoove you to hold on to every single mistake that someone has made, especially if the mistake doesn't really harm you in any way.
That's the truth. It's the truth. Now, in another thing, she said the Leos love to fight, so the Aquarius go with the flow. That's very true. Sheena, Kristen, Janet, Nia, Michelle, and Jasmine and her girlfriend Melissa, who I don't know why she's here. I don't dislike Melissa. I just don't need her on the show. Or Jasmine can go too, honestly. But they meet, they talk. The only thing I'm gonna say, I do agree with Nia that Janice focuses on everyone else's marriage and relationships, but never wants to discuss her own. You're on a reality show. So if you're gonna come for other people, you better damn sure be prepared for them to come for you. And the amount of people that dislike Janet, the girl is struggling to attain followers. People do not like her. Everything she posts, people say negative things about. I went to Jason's Instagram page. People is coming at him. I know we don't like these people, but let's not just be spewing hate. You can express disdain without hating on them. But I do agree with Nia. You're on a show. Janet gets very upset whenever anything about her is said or she's held accountable, but she's constantly in other people's business, yelling at other people and trying to hold other people accountable for shit that has nothing to do with her at all. And she has to figure that out. She just does. Now, while at this little dinner, Michelle interrupts because she's realized that it's easy to forget that she's there. And she brings up that she's upset that people have been talking about her boyfriend, Aaron, and who he used to sleep with before her. And Michelle mentions that her boyfriend, Aaron, slept with a mutual friend of this group. And if you watch BPR or even season 1 of this show, you understand that this is a huge friend group, right? Why, Michelle, are you mad that people are bringing up that your current boyfriend, that you shouldn't have because you still married in the first place, girl, dated somebody in your friend group? We should be looking at Michelle and asking Michelle, why did you date a man that someone in your friend group dated? Because you broke girl code, Miss Michelle. So you sitting up here crying because these bitches is talking to your new dude when you haven't even gotten rid of your old one yet. And you kind of look shady for being with him in the first place because you were friends with his ex. So I'm looking at Michelle like, huh? Why are you interrupting a happy dinner to bring that up? Nobody is going to choose between you and Jesse. Hell, he's an asshole. He's difficult, but I feel like he's always been this way from the beginning. And she chose to deal with it anyway. If I had to choose between Jesse and Michelle, I would choose Jesse. Why? I don't want to be bored. I don't. The girl don't speak half the time, and she's boring, and I'm just tired of it. So Michelle then asks how many people knew that cameras were going to show, you know, Jenna and all of this. And I'm just like, huh? And she starts blaming Kristen for this behavior, questioning Kristen. And I was so glad that production showed, like, I know you guys love to make it the Kristen show and blame her, but Zach was like, it was me. It was all me. It wasn't her. They showed receipts. So I'm curious how Michelle will respond at the reunion. Speaking of the reunion, when I thought I could not like Janet anymore, she posted that damn dress. She didn't even see, you know what I love about the Black community? When we do our hair, we gonna make sure it's right. This girl put her hair up in a basic ponytail like she was going to the gym, and then put on a dress that requires curves while having none, with what looked to be beauty supply makeup. I don't know why she did that, but maybe James will cover the reunion looks, because there were several bad reunion looks that Bravo released today for a couple different shows. And
we may have to do a fashions on Saturday before my day starts. We gonna have to do a fashion review for a lot of. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna type that video Bravo fashions gone wrong, because I don't know what the hell is in the water. I don't know, because usually Real Housewives of Atlanta, for the most part, usually gets it right. I don't know what happened in this reunion. And as far as the Valleys looks, so far I've only seen the ones I've only paid attention was Brittany.
Brittany never looks good. I'm sorry. Yeah. She ruined her face and make it look like she has a developmental disability in her face, and she doesn't.
Brittany looked like she had on a couch cushion. It was ridiculous. I didn't see, and I think I didn't like Nia's dress either. I think I didn't like her dress either. I have to go back and look now. Now I'm looking at them.
Nia just had a baby, so the fact that she even showed up, I'll give
Yeah,
her
I'm gonna give
that.
her grace for that, but I might. I might. But I want to see. I tell you, usually I might like it in person. Then I did. I didn't like it in the photo I saw. I did not like it. Of course I didn't like Janet's look, and then I didn't like Jasmine's look either. I was like, oh,
Jasmine can't dress to save her life. I also don't like her face. It reminds me of like the NPCs on video games you see in grocery stores. If you know, you know. It's just what it
Mrs.
gives.
Moncrief. It won't be early Saturday morning, but it would definitely be mid.
I hope it is, because I have things to do.
Well, I do too. That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be about maybe. I'm gonna shoot for maybe about 10 o'clock, 10, 11.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I'll be up and fed. But yeah, Michelle does all that craziness. I don't know what the hell wrong with her. But Janet chimes in randomly, interrupted Michelle, saying that Kristen went behind Michelle's back and called her a cheater last year. Janet, they've apologized. They've moved on. Why are you bringing up old shit? And why are you saying anything when this is not a conversation that involves you? Why are you talking? I would... Jason, go over to Petco. They got shock collars. Now, they got them as low as $70. Every time she talks, she'll get a little zap. You know what I'm saying? It won't hurt her, but it'll maybe train her to be quiet. You know? Just a little zappy zap. Just saying. Because why did she speak? James, it had nothing to do with her.
As I said, this lady, I swear, it's nothing worse than someone who wants to take the shine out of the day. I'm telling you, it's nothing worse than that. I promise you. Because, ma'am, like Mrs. Best said, ain't nothing that's being discussed here got anything to do with you. Why you want to put up your situation as a bargaining chip as if we're all playing poker right now is absolutely insane. Like, seriously, I need her to get a hobby. I need her to get a hobby. Maybe study some fashion so that way you can have some for the next reunion. Maybe go be somebody's assistant and and get yelled at so that way you can see how it feels. Do something with your time, please.
Mm-hmm.
There's a problem with a lot of these cast members, they're bored. That's the problem with a lot of them. They're bored. They don't have nothing going on except for podcasts and influencing.
That's why Brittany is only able to talk about her divorce and arguing over the podcast because she has nothing else going on that we can follow. We don't know. Jasmine, I think Jasmine and Melissa still got regular jobs, but separate from that, Jasmine's not good for reality TV, has nothing we can follow. Danny and Nia are too busy and it's upsetting the group. Jax only has what he has with Brittany. Jesse and Michelle are real estate agents, so they don't really need to be here.
Jasmine is the epitome if, like, back in our day, if a black girl was on Laguna Beach.
Yep.
Like, but actually, there was a black girl on Laguna Beach.
There was.
I forgot about that.
And just like we'll forget about Jasmine. And I hope I can't wait for the day.
My statement. I had to think about that for a minute because I was like, season 1, she was on season 2.
This is what television does, though, across the board for years. She's the token black girl, but she doesn't bring anything. And I think they only put her on this show because the show was built around cast members from Vanderpump Rules that were fired for using racially insensitive comments against black people. So that's what they tried to do.
Y'all thought by bringing this black lady on this show, one that really ain't all that self-aware when we really pull apart the layers. Y'all thought by doing this was going to ease us to forget about these people and not think that they aren't the microaggressive people that they are? Okay, bravo. Didn't work.
But Kristen does immediately ask Janet why she got involved, which I was happy because I'm not going to answer your questions. I'm going to ask you one, bitch. Why are you even getting in this? It has nothing to do with you. And Kristen addresses Michelle instead of Janet and says, since it bothers you, I will not include Jenna or in anything that you will be attending as well. So Michelle, don't cry when people stop inviting you to shit because you keep wanting to not be around Jesse. Now it's Jenna. Now it's this. Next week it'll be the polka dot man. We don't know. But Michelle, I want her to go because I'm tired of it. Janet tried to say, because Kristen got fed up with Janet talking and it seemed like Kristen and Michelle was going to make peace, but then Janet continued to chime in and make it a problem. And Kristen left. She said, I don't have to fucking deal with this. And, Janet's, go get a to-go box and you don't know how to be accountable. It's like Janet was screaming at herself about accountability because Kristen didn't even do this. And they're so hell-bent on making it Kristen that they don't realize that cameras are filming and that we'll get the receipts in actual time. So Kristen left. Jasmine was disgusted with Janet. Everybody was disgusted with Janet. Janet is just... she sucks. I think we can agree. I'm going to move forward. Did you want to bring anything else up from that scene? No. For some reason, we still in the same scene. Nia cries. She said it's just so intense. She can't deal with it. And Janet was cruel. She was actually, when someone's crying, leave them alone. If you're not going to help them feel better, just be quiet. You don't have to add to it. Janet is like, oh, here she goes with her fucking tears again. I said, you evil bitch. You evil bitch. It's always some hurt bitch that's acting like this too. It just is.
But you know what they need to do? When Janet starts crying, oh, there go Janet and her tears.
She was just crying a couple episodes ago when Jasmine read her for filth. She was, it's like, I cried too. So you want us to give a fuck about her tears, but when everybody else cries, you don't care about their tears? Girl, bye.
She was my friend. How dare she do this? And, accuse Jason
Janet is
anybody. And it's like, why would you even put that out there? You're supposed to be my friend of 7 years. And I'm just like, girl, shut up. No one cares.
Right. Janet is the worst type. I'm sorry. She's the worst type of white woman. I'm going to just say it what it is. Because you could tell that she judges everybody else, utilizes her privilege, but will never allow anybody to hold her accountable and will not acknowledge her privilege.
I like Mrs. Montclaif's comment because I just read a comment.
The comment states, I wanted to say this last week, but Bravo will save the clear people, but will pay dust to Kenya's, Candice's, and Nini's. Example, Sandoval. Yeah, some Sandoval.
Somebody, okay, I wish, I'm going to start screenshotting the comments on Instagram because someone just commented something like this. They were saying like it's crazy how they say that like Bravo doesn't give Black people a chance, but they gave Phaedra a chance. Let me explain something to y'all. This comment is the most truth about Bravo than any other comment y'all want. Y'all could say Bravo gave Phaedra a chance, but let's be clear. Phaedra went after another Black woman. So to me, it didn't make a difference to me that Phaedra came back or not, because at the end of the day, she went after another Black woman. It wasn't like she went after a clear person and they saved her. So of course they're going to save her because she went after someone of a different color. But let it have been, like we said, like the Sandoval characters and stuff, they could say racial stuff, they can do all kind of stuff and still have a job. Phaedra sat out for years until she just got back on Bravo. So I want people to understand something. They don't see it for our colors. And they don't see it for the Black women who cannot be tamed, i.e. Candice, Kenya, or Nene. There's more to that list. But they will never see it for Black women who cannot be tamed. As long as you could be tamed, you're fine with Bravo.
That's true. And Bravo is owned by NBC, and Bill Cosby has been trying to warn all of us for many years prior to his little situation. NBC is known for this. CBS is known for it. It's just what networks do. It's unfortunate, but I think when you have casts like this with people like Jasmine who are still always willing to sign up and okay with being that token Black person, okay to be amongst a cast full of people that use racially insensitive comments, I think Black people can also do a little better and stop maybe fighting to go on these damn networks. Like if Nene, I wish Nene and Cynthia and all of them would stop trying to come back and just go do something else elsewhere, or, because if you're not appreciated, don't keep going where you're not wanted. Hell. But Janet does the whole mean crying thing because she's upset about the rumor, which tells me that the rumor is true, because I thought you were over it, Janet. I thought you guys didn't care and weren't upset about it. Now you're mad? Okay, girl. But the next day comes and the group goes to a park for a field day. I don't understand why Sheena is in so many scenes, but okay. She's actually quieter here than she was on Vanderpump Rules, so I don't really mind it. But I also know Sheena is very open about needing income and feeling a way about her bestie Ariana's success. So I'm just kind of looking at Sheena with the side eye now, but whatever, she's here. If we keep Sheena, please take Michelle and Janet and get rid of them. Or let Janet stay so that Sheena can read her for filth. Maybe Sheena will learn. Because, yeah. Anywho, the Jenna girl is going to be hosting the event that they're having. Michelle, we don't care. I'm not even going to waste the time on this channel. I'm not commenting on Michelle's disdain for any of it. She says Sheena equals fetch. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. You could tell Sheena wants to be on television, but if you see and sense that someone wants to be in the limelight so bad, it's kind of a turnoff. And I just wish she would go do other things instead of being on the show, but okay. But Janet sits at the event and she talks with her only friend, Brittany. And I'm not discussing Brittany's divorce anymore from Jax. I'm tired of it. So, we'll move on to what Janet had to say to Brittany about Nia. And Janet explained that she feels like she shouldn't have gone off on Nia the way that she did about the tears, but she says it's a buildup because the only reason Kristen and Janet have a problem is because Kristen is defending her friend Nia and Danny. So because of that, she blames Nia and Danny and got at her. Why are you upset that Kristen is defending Nia and Danny? One, maybe you're wrong, but your egotistical ass can't see that. Two, why would you expect for Kristen to defend you when last season you gave Kristen hell and this season you tried to give her hell? So now you mad because Kristen won't kiss your ass and is actually done with you and you're throwing a fit about it. Once again, Janet crying about some shit that she started. But I think the worst part, because we kind of expect bad out of Jasmine, I think the worst, Janet and Jasmine Hill, but we expect bad out of Janet. The worst part was that Brittany just proved all of Zach's points right that he's been complaining about. Brittany, you're not going to hold her accountable? Jasmine had the closest friendship with Janet and held her accountable. Brittany, you just going to sit there and listen to this woman tell you that she went off on Nia and had Nia crying and was cruel and unusual and mean-spirited to someone, not because that person did anything to her, but because that person had a friend to defend them, the way that you got friends and husbands with you all the time to gang up on people. I can't with Janet James. We're going to have the same conversation it seems every week with this woman, and I'm tired of it. I want to talk about something different. But how do you feel about Janet and Brittany's conversation?
To me, it was two peas in the same pot.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it was. Two peas in the same pot. These two women can commiserate against, other members in the group because really they're just alike.
Yep.
They're just alike. Janet and Brittany are just alike. They're the same damn person, same situations. Because
it's just Brittany doesn't have as many brain cells that work.
Not only that, but Brittany doesn't have a loving, faithful husband, accordingly to Janet. So then I say accordingly to Janet. Hits on those words. But I'm just saying, to me, it was not, I feel like Janet just wants someone to blame for when shit goes wrong with her life.
Yep.
That's all that shit is. When shit goes wrong, you want someone to blame. You want someone to blame because you don't want to face the reality of the situation or maybe even the severity of the situation. So for me, I kind of feel like listening to you talking about someone who you don't even like to have your back is preposterous. Like, that is crazy to me. I have never heard of that in my life. That the person that I don't like, I expect some blind loyalty from them. The fuck? Do you realize how crazy that is? Why should she have your back when you constantly give her your ass to kiss? Why should, because you want to be the puppet master. That's why. You want to control the puppet strings. You want to make sure everyone falls in line with what you want. It don't work like that, ma'am. I'm sorry, even for clear folks. It don't work like that. I don't know where you grew up. I don't know who your mom and daddy is. I don't know what cherish, pageant queen they try to make you out to be. I don't know what happened. But that is unrealistic, and it is crazy of you to come on national TV and actually express that with the solid face you did.
Right. And expect anybody to feel something. I think she's a spoiled little brat that has not had to struggle much in life. If she has had to struggle, it's likely due to a choice that she made. I don't think she's able to relate. I don't see it for Janet ever on this show, but I'm sure that Bravo will keep her because
because they need an antagonist. They need somebody who lives in Deluluville to be on a show like this. You know, they always do that. Bravo always has somebody who lives in some crazy delusion that is problematic as hell, Heather Gay, and then they feel like they want to thrust them upon us. They don't have to have a storyline to fit.
Yeah, because Janet really tried to tell us that she's going to give Nia an apology, but feels like Nia gaslit her, even though in the same conversation she stated that Nia has done nothing to her and that she was taking out her anger for Kristen. But we're going to digress. Everybody's going to Hawaii. There was a little cute scene, though, with Luke going to pick up the engagement ring from his friend Kyle, who we've seen from Beverly Hills to this group to everywhere. I just thought their friendship was sweet. You could tell Luke is like there for his woman, not because he wants to be on the show. Let me catch a comment before we move forward. Mrs. Moncrief said, by the way, Jasmine always has a confused face when Janet brings up Danny grabbing Michelle's behind, but won't say, hey, it's good. And we have talked about it. Yep, that's the truth if she views them as friends. I want to like Jasmine, but she has an insecure agenda. I'll never trust no nigga that wants to be a house nigga. I'm going to just say it like that. That's how I feel about it. Y'all can cancel me, do whatever the fuck you got to do. I could give a flying fuck. But one thing we should have learned from Django and our history, to my beautiful melanated people, don't trust no house nigga. I'm trying to tell you.
I promise you, even though Samuel Jackson was funny.
He was funny, but that was a lesson.
It was a huge lesson. Not only that, you know what's funny? I just recently watched the movie Life.
I love that movie.
Do you remember Hoppin' Bob or whatever his name was?
Mm-hmm.
That taught me right there I couldn't trust all of my people.
You can't.
You just can't. Because there's always one that wants to fit in with the color they are not.
Yep.
And there's always one that wants to think they're above all the rest. And see, and the problem with being in that situation is clear folks will make you think that. Because they know, and once again, it's Janet with the puppet strings. Remember, they were friends for years. So with the puppet strings, you're able to make people believe that they are more superior. Oh, you're not like the rest of the Black folks I've ever seen. You're definitely better in this and that. I've heard that. Even with me, I've heard that. I've heard James, oh, I could stand Black people. When I met you, you were just totally different. And they never saw me again.
Yep.
Because how dare you?
Yeah. I actually had a supervisor do that to me years ago when I was selling cars. I was like, I don't know how to feel about this because I was only 23 at the time. Right. Years later, I had ended up leaving the company, but my very good friend Megan was still there. That man did the same thing to her. She said, do you know that he said to me, there's two types of Black people and he didn't understand until he met you. And now that he's met me, he sees that there's some of us that know how to act. She reported his ass. He got fired. I said, go girl.
Good for her, because, you know, to me, that is nothing more disrespectful than to tell me after this country has built their whole burdens on the back of Black people, that because some, and here's the thing, Black people don't act like this just because we want to. It's because we live in a societal patriarchy that tells us we don't have any other way to be. We don't get the right educations. We don't get the right access. Therefore, our grammar is kind of backwards. Therefore, our pronunciations are wrong. Therefore, we don't know how to go to speech therapy because it's not in our communities as much as it is in the other communities. I didn't know what speech therapy was until I turned 19 and moved to Arizona. Because where I'm from, we have them, but they're not accessible because they're not really brought to us an opportunity. Hey, James needs speech therapy. Did you ever think of? No teacher has ever went to my mom. And I struggled with speech. No teacher has ever went to my mom and said, hey, James needs speech therapy. It wasn't until I got to college and they were like, yeah, you mispronounce a lot of different words. I need you to kind of correct that. It was, I had a job. I worked at a library of all places. And they looked at me, they were like, we are going to hire you, but can you, yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot that people don't know. It's also something that can, I think this is the best comment to address it because we do. But at the same time, I think the mental part of it is what impacts some Black people more because whether you're Black or white, I'm sorry, going to school in California. We have one of the worst public school districts in the country. What people don't know, our colleges are good, but not the schools. So black or white, you wouldn't get a referral. But unless you was like in a distinguished school district, it's true. But like for instance, my parents, they experienced headaches because I grew up in deep East Oakland, and they said, "Oh no, this ain't gonna work." And my parents hustled and did what they had to do to send me and my siblings to private school. I didn't go to public school till I got to high school. And it helped a lot. I was ahead of every kid by years. So I think if you can do better for your kids, do better. If you can't, teach them to understand the code switching that we do have to constantly do.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate that we have to do that. But at the same time, we have to encourage our kids that there is nothing better than a black educated person. And don't let anyone else tell you differently, no matter what.
And teach them to clean their houses too, because I got some friends that need help.
And I'm just saying. And also teach us to be, because it was funny when Mrs. Best met my significant other. She was saying, she reminded me in high school how I always had great hygiene. And we got back in the car and he said, "James, please tell me Amina was like joking about that." I said, "No, she wasn't."
I don't play about hygiene. If you stank or your house dirty, I'm leaving and never coming back.
Yes, but he was like, "That is not real." I said, "Unfortunately, it was. I'm sorry." He did not believe. He was literally, we got in that car. No, we went in 2 minutes. And he was like, "I'm sorry. I have to bring up what she said about you having great hygiene as if that was some award to give to you." I said, "If only you knew what growing up in the Bay Area was like."
If you only knew.
Right.
Okay. I got a hamper for when I ride BART, and I got a hamper for when I go out regularly. It's a reason why. Okay. I don't want none of that shit in my house. But I'm also OCD, you guys. Like I'm a little OCD. James saw me damn near cussing out Crystal and pick up your clothes, put this in your suitcase. Why does shit got to be left around? Like I'm OCD and I'm working on it. I'm trying.
Oh, you was killing me. I'm sorry, y'all.
She said we have to commend anyone smelling good because it's the wild. In the wild, it's rare.
So a fun fact about me is that a lot of the times I live, like there's times my mom got her own place, but there was often times where we would move in with my grandmother a lot, and my grandmother would never let us take showers. We only could take baths. So I'm a bath guy. I am not a shower guy. I take baths.
But you clean.
Yes, I'm very clean. But I it's something. It was funny because I was telling Mrs. Best, I was like, I gotta find a garden tub because I'm so used to having one. So when I found my apartment, I was like, "Oh, they have a garden tub in the master bedroom." Yes, I would. But yeah, so honestly, and it was something that always stuck with me. I take showers. I do, like especially if I'm in a rush, like yesterday when I did my live, I had to hurry shower and get to work. It was like 10 minutes late. I'll take a shower then. Like if I'm in a rush, I'll take a shower then. But like y'all, I will sit in the bath. I got Dr. Scholl's like literally waiting for me.
That is so funny. Okay. I've never used my bathtub. I'm not a big bath person unless I'm on vacation and feeling nasty. Okay. But my husband likes baths. It's Dr. Scholl's, all types of different stuff. But he works with his hands and body and all of that.
I do too. And trust me, it's nothing like a good stress relief. Dr. Scholl's with the eucalyptus. Oh my Lord.
Coming out with your earlobe smelling.
Yes, I'm telling you. One time my ass fell asleep up in there because I'm
sleep. James, don't stress me out. We gonna move forward. He gonna stress me out, y'all. But I wanted to wish Luke's grandmother happy healing with her cancer, and I can kind of understand why he's wanting to propose because it seems like he feels his grandmother's on borrowed time. But I like that he comes from family. I think he'll be good for Kristen. But Jax, in another scene, before we get to Hawaii, Jax is waiting to meet with Brittany at a restaurant near Jax's bar, and he's waiting. He orders his Diet Coke and his water on camera. Who's ordering both at once? No one's that thirsty, but okay. Calls Brittany to see where she's at. And she says, I'm not going to come because I'm getting all these text messages about you being at the bar last night and talking to girls and drinking. Bitch, boo-bye. You divorced him, ho. You and your botched face and your oversized titties that don't fit the rest of your body. You left him. So how do you leave someone, file for divorce, give them paperwork stating they can only see their child under supervised circumstances, and then you're mad at what he's doing? Baby girl, I agreed with Jax for the first time. He's not your man anymore. He can do what he wants to do. He can talk to women. He can fuck different bitches. Matter of fact, when you guys were separated, you had a rule that you could both sleep with people. The only rule was not to do it in your home. He didn't do it in your home. He did it in his bar. His. So I'm looking at Brittany and I'm like, girl, really? You're going to be that type of bitch getting a divorce? Nobody's going to feel sorry for you and agree with you. Once you decide to leave the man, you can complain about what he used to do, but you don't get to complain about what he does from the moment you chose to leave him to going forward.
So let me
now
get
that he
this
has
straight.
them, huh?
Hold on. I need you to back up a few paces. She told him he could have a hall pass as long as it wasn't in their home.
While they were separated, before they filed for divorce, they were separated. That's why she was living in the Airbnb. So they weren't together. It just wasn't a legal separation. They talked. She said this at the beginning of the season and agreed. It's okay for them to see and sleep with other people as long as they do not do it in the home that their child is in. So she was mad while they were separated because she saw on camera that Jax had a woman in the house that he slept with, the house that she shared with her son. But she chose to leave that house to go to the Airbnb.
I was just going to say, that's why I was so confused. Because I was like, even watching it, I was confused. Because I was like, well, what the hell is from? You're not with him anymore. So what the fuck is the problem?
The problem is that Brittany is a spoiled brat from Kentucky that didn't even know how to be a gold digger correctly, chose a man knowing what she would get. Now she's got it and she's upset. And now she's doing that again through her divorce. You're filed for divorce. You, Brittany, you have your child. You have full legal, sole, physical custody of your child. Why does what he does in his bar matter? But you dressed up his bar, covered up his name, put your name everywhere, letting all of LA know your problems. But you are mad about this? Brittany, shut up. I don't like her. Every time she talks, she says something stupid. Now you're making us side with Jax. He said himself, I thought that we were single. I thought I could do what I wanted because we're not together. And I do agree with him. I do think she did that to try and embarrass him because she knew that it was. And I'm a firm believer, you do not fight fire with fire. He's not hurting your child. He's moved out of the house. It is what it is. What the hell? I don't understand it. I don't. Mrs. Moncrief said, not Jax gagging Jax. Oh, not Brittany gagging Jax. Jason, Frank Himmer, the no-show, had him lying to himself in the car. As much as I am not Team Brittany, that was a boss move. It was, but she's doing it a little late. I have no issue with her not showing up. The part that makes me mad is her bringing up what he did in his bar. While
it's her trying to have conditions on the marriage that's about to end.
It's like he can do what he wants. You don't have to show up. It would have been cool if she just didn't show up and did him dirty and was like, well, I'm not ready to talk yet. Fine. But don't call him and say you're not showing up because he was dancing around with other girls at a bar now that he's getting a divorce. Get over it. I'm sorry. Handle it in court. You filed for divorce. The fuck you want? So let's say Brittany wins full custody of the child when the divorce is finalized. Let's say she gets full custody and Jax is paying his child support and she decides, oh, Jax is still on this show. He's doing that. I don't like that. She can't say nothing. Handle it in court and move on. All that petty shit, that's what's wrong with people in their divorces. All it does is hurt the child. If you're done with the man, get a divorce and move on. Don't show up. You don't have to deal with them. Fine. But don't call him talking about you saw what he was doing and getting text messages from people. And who are these people that are texting her constantly what he's doing? That's weird. That's weird. Welcome in, Jay Alexandria. I was confused when she said he hasn't tried to call her about Cruz, but how do he know he is unblocked? Brittany is full of shit. I'm glad that you brought that up too, Jay, because not only is it how would he know he's unblocked, but he was calling her in this scene to see where she was at. So clearly he is not blocked. He coordinated with Brittany, he said, to even meet with her at the restaurant to discuss stuff. So clearly he wasn't blocked. I do believe that Jax has mistreated Brittany, but Brittany will stretch the truth and add extra stuff in there that did not happen so that we feel sorry for her. I don't need it. I'm so tired of Brittany doing this, but she doesn't show up. Jax is sad. But I'd like to remind everyone, especially if separating with someone you have a child with, fighting fire never works. It makes you look immature to the rest of us, even if we don't say it. And it hurts the child in the long run because that baby's going to grow up and wonder, why didn't you come see me? Why didn't this happen? How come you weren't around as much? And when they find out that the bitter mamas was in court fighting like hell, or when they find out that the mom is just not showing up and not letting them see the kid because the dad had a night out at a bar, then the kid could resent her one day. So I hope she figures it out. I do. But I'll be glad when their divorce is final. I don't know about you, James, but I'm patiently waiting.
You know, I feel like I'll be glad when the divorce is final, and I'm glad this show get off our boat.
Yeah, she's on our nerves. But the group gets to Hawaii. They go to Maui, and Aaron is struggling to have to be around Michelle's ex so much. I think Michelle's probably good at bed or something. And I feel like that's the only thing keeping Aaron there. The whole situation is messy. I don't take their relationship so seriously at all. Let me catch the comment. I think they are two people who was partying and doing the same stuff. Then they had a child and Jax didn't grow up. However, he's been this way since they met and she decided to ignore it. Jay, we say this every single live. And that's why we don't feel sorry for Brittany on this show. I also have been very vocal in the comments on social media as well, because I feel like, Brittany, you're trying to expose all the stuff about Jack. You was probably sniffing the white stuff right there with him. You was drinking right there with him. He said y'all sex life was crazy. Y'all done had threesomes. So it is a case of like a woman had a baby and she's forced to grow up. She's forced to grow up. A man, they don't always feel entitled to those same things. Some men are, some men don't. But I don't think having the baby really changed anything for Jax. It was just like, cool, another me. And now I still have her here. But I don't think either of them ever took marriage seriously. They can act like they did, but I don't think they did. Because if they really did, they wouldn't have gotten married.
I agree.
They wouldn't have got married if they did. But in Maui, Danny and Jason are kicking it in the pool. And they call their wives over, Janet and Nia, to talk. And Janet apologizes and immediately blames her actions on having too much to drink. Drunken mind, sober thoughts, Janet. That's all I'm saying. Danny apologizes to Janet, but she keeps saying that she can forgive. And I'm just looking and I'm like, Jason, Janet, okay, Danny apologized for calling you a snake, but are you guys going to apologize for alleging that he's an alcoholic on a public platform? Are we just going to move past that?
We're just going to
move past it.
Because to them, that information is true versus their information.
It doesn't matter if it's true or not, though. It's not their place to give that info out. But I am glad. I am glad Nia is not stupid. She's like, nope, she's done this too many times. I have a guard up. And I think that's what Janet does. I feel like she pokes and prods and fucks with people to see what she can get away with. And the ones that stay become friends, like the weak-minded Britneys. And the ones that don't want to deal with her no more, don't deal with her. And then suddenly they're an enemy. But how'd you feel about that fake ass apology? I couldn't stand it.
It was very fake and phony, and she could have kept it. She could have kept it, and she could have just moved forward with knowing that, you know what, oh, well, I did what I did, and he doesn't want to forgive me. I would have never apologized to her in the first place.
Right.
Because she's a snake. I mean, she is a snake. She looked like one. She slithered like one. So what the hell? What was the problem? I'm trying to figure out what am I apologizing for. If it looks like what it is, it's what it is.
It's
right?
funny too. You're apologizing to someone, Janet, because your behavior, you said, was due to the fact that you had too much to drink. But you guys have been complaining and attacking Danny, calling him an alcoholic for him having too much to drink.
Exactly. The
So we're
hypocrisy.
supposed to forgive her discretions that she does when she drinks too much. But with anybody else, they're an alcoholic and we can't let it go.
The ghetto.
Somebody send Janet to Zeus. I want to see something.
The ghetto. I'm trying to tell you, send her somewhere.
Send her somewhere.
Oh, like bring Phaedra back for Traders next season and put Janet on her with her.
Put her with the Housewives of New Jersey, or I feel like Rhode Island Housewives will give like an Italian energy too. I will be covering it next year whenever it comes on TV, y'all. But I feel like send her somewhere. I want to see somebody flip a table on her, pull a rug from under her feet while she's standing there, something.
What she gonna do is cry.
That's fine. That's fine. Because then we get to say, what the fuck? These tears? You think we give a fuck about your tears? That's what we just
said. Gus will say, not tears. Tears.
Ran Mia's ass right off the show.
No, that was Candace. It was Candace. When she
Giselle did something similar to Mia. I was cracking up at the reunion. Oh, now she's upset. I said, oh.
Oh my gosh, I just took myself out for that one. Oh.
I can't. But the episode, I'm not going to go over the ending too much. The episode ended with Jesse like spiraling in his own head about Aaron being around Michelle, if she was with him while they were together. He doesn't like that the dude has been really close to his daughter and hasn't like had a conversation, which I actually agreed with. If you are dating anybody with kids and you don't have them, you should be asking about the ex. And if the ex is available and involved versus it being some like, I have a restraining order or this is the only way, then you should be like, hey, I just wanted to meet you because I'm around your child and I wanted to show you respect. Like, I did agree with that part. But Jesse, you know you just mad because you can't confirm. Kristen's words bothered Jesse because Kristen will tell everybody a bunch of bullshit and put everyone's business out there, but it's usually true. And so Jesse's probably like, oh, she said this to me season 1, and now look at this, we're divorced and she got a boyfriend. I don't know. We'll see what happens with his spiral next week. The Valley's doing well. I'm surprised we're on episode 11, though. This is a lot.
Yeah.
When does it end? But we'll be back next week to cover the Valley again. Next week, either next week or week after next, King's Court is here. I know July 13th it's here. There was something else that's supposed to be coming on. I can't remember, but I'll always post to the community tab for you guys. James will be having some lives, it sounds like tomorrow for Next Gen NYC. He's also going to have a fashions reunion video that could be on Saturday. So click the link on the description and
make sure you don't miss it. And then, of course, on Sunday, we have Somebody's Son. Chambrielle did confirm that she will do an interview with us soon, but she's going to wait till after all the episodes air, and then we'll schedule that soon. So I'm excited about that. So, yes.
I love it. I love it. Subscribe to both channels, you guys. We always have stuff going on. I won't be back on my channel live, I don't think, until next week because Never Ever Mets is gone. I don't see anything else on OWN that I really want to cover. I don't like how OWN does a lot of their shows on the weekend. That's when I'm like outside and living life. But if anyone wants me to cover a show with James, let us know. We will look into it. But yeah, other than that, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you for the fashions. Yes, we'll be here on Saturday. Thank you guys. See you soon.
Adios.